obviously not reliable. It's giving you a different error every time, and those errors are not even close to being the same error each time, which would be biased. There, obviously, some are lower, some are much higher. That is not a reliable instrument. A local police department gives everyone who applies for a job a test in American history. However, experience shows that these test scores are unrelated to future job performance. As a measure of the ability to do police work, the history scores are, really hope you got it this time, invalid, right, for police work. However, the next question says, the same police department also gives job applicants a test of their knowledge of modern popular music. Experience shows that those who score well on the test tend to become lousy police officers. As a measure of future job performance, the music test scores, it's way down here, look at the next page, E, they have predictive validity. That is that experience has showed that the police officers, that their knowledge of popular music will tell them if they are going to be good job performers or bad job performers. So they are able to predict the validity of it. Even if you don't think it's a valid way to measure it, it has predictive validity because they have shown over and over again that that is the case. Alright. 35. The diameter of a metal rod was measured 8 times and the results in millimeters were below. The true diameter of the rod is 29.2 millimeters. The measurement process appears to be reliable but somewhat biased. Just a bit from 29.2 to 31.7, but it is reliable. It's giving you the same answer each time, but it is definitely a little bit over each time, which is biased. 36. A dishonest butcher has a scale on which he weighs the meat his customers buy in order to increase his profits. He has doctored the scale so that it always reads very close to 10% more than the actual weight. The measurements from the scale are biased, definitely, because it's the same amount over each time, so it's going to be either A or B. And it's reliable if it's always 10% over, and it's not sometimes 10% over, sometimes less. Definitely biased and reliable. And let's see, is that it for 1.2 on the multiple choice questions? Turn to your book if you have it to page 61. There is a kind of short response question, or at least a question that is very similar to one that's going to be on the test that I want to go over with you. On page 61, 1.75, blood alcohol levels. The researcher wants to measure the blood alcohol level of the subjects in a study of alcohol consumption and heart disease. He is not satisfied with the standard method of taking a single measurement using the breathalyzer machine, which measures alcohol in the breath. 3 alternatives are considered. 1. Check the breathalyzer machine and reset it if necessary to be sure that it gives a 0 reading for the background air. Then take a single measurement using the machine. 2. Instead of using the breathalyzer, take a small blood sample and measure the alcohol level in this sample. And 3. Use the breathalyzer 10 times and take the average of those 10 readings. So A, B, and C, it wants you to match up which one is method 1, which one is method 2, and which one is method 3. A states which method would improve the reliability of the standard method, okay? If you remember both from the summary and from the chapter that the average of a bunch of different readings is the way to improve reliability, you would know that A matches up to method 3. Okay? A matches up to method 3 because you use the breathalyzer 10 times and take an average of those 10 readings. So that's definitely method 3. Which method would have better validity than the standard method? So is it more valid to take blood and do alcohol level, or is it more valid to use the breathalyzer? And I think that that's going to be the blood sample. So B is going to be method 2, which just leaves C, which method would reduce the bias associated with the standard method. And that's definitely going to be method 1, because when you tear it, that's what it's called, if you guys remember in science, when you tear something to make sure that it's only measuring what you put into something. We do it at the pizza place all the time. We have to tear the container before we put the sugar in it or the flour in it to zero it out. So that's going to definitely help with bias, because it's not going to be over or under the same amount each time. So that finishes the practice questions that I want to do for this chapter. If you could go back, skim the summary, make sure you understand the definitions of what's happening. Go back, look at any blue boxes that this book has. That's where it's going to give you a lot of information. And make sure that you know any formulas. I don't think there's any formulas here for this one, but you really have to know the ins and outs of the different types of errors for this one. So good luck, you guys.